I just want to go through some of these to show
let's
you
go
guys.
through some.
So here's Seamus from Freedom Tunes. Nick has actually met him once.
Yeah.
This is a tweet from him from actually almost exactly a year before Charlie's assassination. And he says, he's replying to something else. This is during the campaign for president last year. And he said, this is actually a perfect distillation of how lefties argue. Step 1, find 2 things that are different in nearly every possible way. Step 2, find one superficial similarity between them. This proves they are actually identical. Step 3, quote, why are you against one but not the other? That's like one way that they do it. Here's another example. This is also from Seamus. Right winger. Okay, I'm logged into my autonomous alt account.
No. I'm logged into my anonymous.
Sorry, yeah, autonomous. Anonymous, sorry, I'm like getting ahead of myself. Okay, let me start this over again. Right winger. Okay, I'm logged into my anonymous alt account that I set up with a burner phone that I bought with cash. Time to post, Ilhan Omar is stupid. Left winger. Okay, I'm logged into my public LinkedIn profile. Time to celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination.
That's literally what's happening.
First of all, if you're not following Seamus, Freedom Tunes, go follow him. He's great. I was actually on Tim Pool with him once, and he's a very intelligent and super funny guy. But that right there illustrates what we were talking about, the whole idea of the pre versus post Charlie Kirk. It was, okay, I got to be really careful. Like, I really want to say this because I'm mad and I'm frustrated, but okay, you're dumb. Like,
they're going to accuse me of being racist.
Yeah,
otherwise,
we're
going to get somewhere with that in a second.
Yeah.
Here's another example. I love this. This is an infamous tweet on X from Mystery Grove. Great account. Highly recommend you go follow him.
Gosh. All right, go ahead. Read it.
Reminder, communism is when ugly, deformed freaks make it illegal to be normal, then rob and or kill all successful people out of petty resentment and cruelty. The ideology is all just window dressing.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's probably one of the most...
2021.
That was an incredibly true statement.
I'm so proud to say that we are mutuals on X. He is a fellow oomph, as they call it. Mr. Grove is a great account. He has excellent takes like this.
Okay, which one is this? Mystery Grove Publishing. Oh wow, okay.
This is an old one.
All the way back in 2021.
This is from September 2021. I told you this has been happening.
So he was saying it before it was cool.
For years. This has been happening in the undercurrent for years. So here's another example. This one's great. This is from another account. And I've seen so many people on the right just copy this and paste it as a response when they see this type of tactic.
Yeah.
So this person is talking about, one of the like grooming gangs in the UK, and they're talking about gang rapists are not always foreigners, and I'm not sure what you mean by the jig is up unless you're really looking forward to watching Strictly late. Like they're obfuscating.
What year is this? This year. Okay, so this is probably, I'm guessing, in reference to what's going on in the UK right now with the Pakistani rape gangs. Gang rapes are not always foreigners, and I'm not sure what you mean by the jig is up unless you're just really looking forward to watching Strictly. What?
It's some TV
go back to what it was. Go back to what it was.
Here's the story. I'll give you the context. So, typical day that ends in a Y in the UK, right?
Yeah.
You've got some horrible headline like this: woman raped by a group of men in a churchyard. Notice how they don't give you any descriptor of who the men are, and you get the type of stuff. Oh, cue the BS mental racist yada yada. Of course, left wing guy.
Well, I love this. Wait a second. Scroll up because I want to capture this conversation and cue the mental racist bellends already calling this a migration issue in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the immediate response is, you made this connection instantly because you already knew the rapists would be foreigners because the gang rapists are always foreigners. Realize the jig is up already. And then they respond with, well, gang rapists are not always foreigners, and I'm not sure what you mean by the jig is up unless you're just really looking forward to watching Strictly later. So, and then, Millennial Woes says, it's amazing how much leftist discourse is just them pretending not to understand things, thus making discourse impossible. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. It is, you will always, there's always either conflation or it's this idea like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Why did you automatically assume it was going to be in a particular direction?
Because you knew.
Because you knew that now again, I understand that you can do predictive analysis on what, political sides of the spectrum are typically going to say about something. But the reason why you knew in the OK, somebody was probably going to mention this, is because of the incredibly high degree of probability based off of crime statistics that that's what happened.
So I've given you guys some examples of like organically. I mean, Seamus is not a politician, right?
No.
He's just a content creator. Mystery Grove and Millennial Woes, these are like anonymous, right-wing accounts.
Yeah.
They have a decent following, but they're not in Congress, they're not in a state legislature. But this is where the right has been going for the last couple years. It was this organic, beneath the surface. It wasn't our elected officials, it was the base.
Yeah.
And these guys kind of represent the feeling of the base. They were already coming up with an analysis of why things were falling apart in terms of the death of public discourse.
Yeah.
I gave you 3 examples. There's a couple more. We even came up with memes.
Yeah.
So here's one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things that we discuss which are issues. One of them is inflationary monetary policy. And why is inflation so bad? Because the good old Federal Reserve can essentially wipe out your savings in a heartbeat. Now, you could invest exclusively in the stock market, and I think investing in the stock market is a good idea, but if you really want to hedge against all of the crazy stuff that the government can do, precious metals is a good place to look. I have been going down this journey of getting more educated on this process, and the people I trust to educate me on it is Lear Capital. We've looked at a lot of gold companies. There's a reason why we picked Lear, and there's 2 things in particular I want to mention. One is their 401k package, and the other is the fact that they will actually ship the gold, silver, or whatever precious metals you're looking for to your house. So you can have physical possession. In an era of debanking, having physical possession of something that can be used for currency that has intrinsic value, I think is very important. If you would like to learn more about what Lear can provide for you and your family, I encourage you to either go to nick4lear.com, that's Nick, the number 4, lear.com, or call them at 800-707-4575. That's 800-707-4575. You risk nothing by just calling them up and getting the free information packet that they offer. Go check them out.
Let me show you the original tweet. This is from JD Vance. He's talking about the shutdown that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, Democrats are, they're about to shut down the government because they demand that we fund healthcare for illegal aliens. That's true, by the way.
Yeah.
And look at this person with the most, just an incredible bio you could possibly imagine.
So Emily with a trans flag, 25 ace flux, transbian, Pokemon and wrestling fan, Christian. Polly and Christian. And he goes, as a Christian, God would hate you. You're not a Christian. And then somebody responds with, they did the meme. No, I'm not a Christian, and I have nothing but contempt for your backward religious beliefs. So yeah, this argument wouldn't work on me, but maybe if I use it on you, you'd do what I want. That's perfect. Well, and again, here's the part where I want to say, I want to be intellectually honest because I don't want to be like them, right? You can point out something hypocritical or incorrect in somebody else's faith. So for instance, when I'm arguing against someone, when I'm engaged in a theological debate with somebody of a different faith, we obviously point out inherent, contradictions between what somebody might say and what they believe. So I understand doing that. The problem is that you have people on the left who will simultaneously tell you, keep your religion out of my politics. But then the moment they want to use some sort of moral, standard to judge you by, it's like, as a Christian, I don't think you should do that.
Or they'll just say that's not very Christian of you, even if they're an atheist.
You told me 5 seconds ago we weren't supposed to bring Christianity in. Vodi Bakum actually talked about this. He goes, isn't it fascinating that the only people that are allowed to appeal to Christianity in the public space when it comes to policy are the people that know nothing about Christian doctrine, but then they claim that they're a Christian, right? They're openly violating Christian doctrine, but they claim to be. And then when they say, well, as a Christian, X, Y, and Z. If a conservative got up there and said, well, as a Christian, X, Y, and Z, then very next thing out of the left's mouth was, stop bringing your religion into politics. Why? Because it's not supposed to be an intellectually consistent standard. It's a tool that when it benefits them, they can use it. And when it benefits you, it's supposed to be completely eradicated from the public discourse.
I have one more example to show you. Again, these are all like organic, small, anonymous accounts, basically, right? So here's the original tweet.
Yeah.
Here's the original tweet. From a usual suspect, right? Socialist adjacent, this person.
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
So religious indoctrination and extremism often start young. Much of the conservative parties would cease to exist if we banned minors from religious places. It's funny how that, like you said, the left will take one position one moment, and then a radically different position the other moment. And we think there's a contradiction there. And there's not.
No.
Because they're both in service of the same goal, which is promoting leftism. And so here's the meme. The meme response from this account is, raising your kids under your belief system? That sounds like indoctrination. Obviously, you should raise them under my belief system instead.
You know, I had a friend of mine in the House of Delegates, and we were sitting there, and it was funny because we were listening to floor speeches from the other side of the aisle, and one person got up and on the other side of the aisle got up and gave a speech about a particular issue, women's rights or something like that. And then like 2 speeches later, someone up and gave a trans rights, and based off of what they were arguing, like standing ovations for both speeches, because that's one of the things we noticed. It didn't matter how bad the speech was on the other side of the aisle, they all got up and clapped for him. But then there was like these obvious contradictions between what one person said and got a standing ovation from every member on the other side of the aisle, and what another person said and got a standing ovation from. And I looked at my friend and I said, do you think they ever see the contradictions? And he looked back at me and he goes, I've wondered for years when they were going to realize that one argument basically defeated another argument, when they were going to obviously recognize the contradictions. And then I realized they all serve the same master. And I was like, whoa.
He's right.